Hello, I'm trying out something a bit new today. As a large part of my podcast involves me wild camping up on beautiful Dartmoor, I thought I'd start reviewing some of the equipment I use on my adventures. But to make things a little different, I'm only going to review items that have survived at least 2 years. That seems like enough time to really get to know a piece of kit. And it also means that any of those things which seem great but break after a couple of outings don't get any ill-deserved praise from me. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about something that I take with me everywhere on the moors, and that you'll have seen strapped to my backpack if you've ever watched any of my incredibly niche videos about rocks or fairies or whatever. That item is the Lavvu. The Lavvu is the Polish version of a piece of outmoded military equipment called a shelter half. Basically a big waterproof cape. And you can pick them up pretty cheap from army surplus websites, usually about 30 quid or so, but often cheaper if you buy 2. That's because if you get 2 of them, you can button them together to make a shit tent, hence the name shelter half. It's way too small for 2 people and has no ground sheet, so I don't recommend it for this purpose at all. As you can see, it's made of really tough canvas and has some nice chunky buttons. The whole thing lets off an air of trustworthy durability. They have their production date stamped on the inside, so you can see that this one was made in 1976. That's right, this thing is older than me and was probably stashed away on a shelf in some Polish depot for decades before I picked it up. And then showed it absolutely no respect at all by putting it through 4 years of constant wild camping abuse. Abuse which it's just brushed off. It's an absolute trooper. So far it's cheap and durable, all good. Here's the first downside, it weighs a ton. Like a lot of old army surplus stuff, comfort wasn't really a consideration, so if you're into expensive, lightweight, modern innovations, then this isn't for you. However, if your spirit animal is a Dartmoor pony and you don't mind steadily lumbering around with a bit of extra weight, then this might be right in your wheelhouse. Like a lot of good wild camping equipment, the Lavvu is a multi-purpose item. Its most common use is as a kind of invincible picnic blanket that you can hurl down onto any old piece of ground or rock and instantly have a relatively dry and clean place to sit. This is especially useful when wild swimming and wanting a tick-free place to stand when you're getting dry. It also makes a really good ground sheet or extra blanket for camping in cooler weather. Something about the weight and texture of it is very comforting and reassuring. It even smells sort of nice. And of course, it's a coat. Ideal for hunkering down and sitting out a really heavy downpour. Or, because it's huge, you can throw it over yourself and your backpack, so it's a rucksack liner too. Pull the string on the inside of the cape and tie a knot so you have a bit of shape for your shoulders, then it's just a case of buttoning it around the neck and it's done. You can keep your arms inside, or unbutton the flaps and poke them out. You could use it to collect firewood, and then you could use it to protect that wood, or whatever else you please by chucking it on top. I've even heard that you can make a boat out of it, but that might be a step too far. So I think its adaptability makes up for its heaviness. I think that if I took a camping stool, a thick waterproof coat and a bigger sleeping bag instead of the Lavvu, then the weight might not be much different anyway. The only other downside to the Lavvu is that it looks stupid, like you're LARPing Lord of the Rings or something.
Onward, hobbits, to Isengard.
But who's there to see you? A quick recap then. Pros, it's cheap, adaptable and durable. Cons, it's heavy and embarrassing. For me, it's an absolute essential. Making this little video showed me how much use it gets and how well it stands up to the demands of a wild camping trip. Just pick it up, shake it off and it's ready to go again. But hey, I'm open-minded. I'm so enamoured with the Polish Lavvu that I've never even thought of trying another country's take on the shelter half. But maybe you have. Leave a comment if you think there's an even better option out there. Thanks for watching.